All right, the last part in 6.1 is going to be actually solving equations. So we have two properties. We're going to start out with one-step equations. We have two properties that are going to allow us to solve. And I always say when we're solving for a variable, our goal is to get a variable, one variable, equal to a number. And so we have to learn to undo operations. To undo addition, we use subtraction. And to undo subtraction, we use addition. Now, I'm going to show you how we do this in words, and then I'm going to show you how we do it mathematically. What I want you to think of is I want you to think of a scale. And when we have this scale, we want to keep our equation always balanced, okay? So whatever we do to the left-hand side of the equal sign, we must also do to the right or vice versa, okay? So your equal sign is going to be the fulcrum, if you would, of the scale, okay? Now, if I were to read this problem to you, I would say start with x, subtract 8, and get 12. Okay, that's just reading the problem. So to reverse this, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start with 12, I'm going to add 8, and I'm going to get 20, which is actually going to be my solution. Okay, but it's really a pain to have to write this out every single time we do problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you mathematically or algebraically, if you would. We're going to draw what I call my T-chart or my scale. And I put the scale line right in the middle of the equal sign. If I cover up my x, okay, whoops, I just cover up my x, it says that I am subtracting 8. So to undo subtract 8, I am going to have to do the opposite, which means I'm going to add 8. And when I do that, negative 8 plus 8 goes to 0, which is what I want to happen. And 12 plus 8 is 20. And that's what I got using the other way. And then I can always check it. And so you don't have to do a physical or writing out check. 20 minus 8 does equal 12. You can just do it mentally in your head or punch it in on your calculator. Okay, so the next three are very similar. I cover up my x. I see what's happening is I have a plus 11. So to undo it, I am going to subtract 11. And 11 minus 11 is 0. And 19 minus 11 is 8. And if I check, 8 plus 11 does equal 19. Okay, the next one. If I cover up my y, it says I'm adding 7. So to undo add 7, I'm going to subtract 7. That goes to 0. Y is equal to 2. And 2 plus 7 does equal 9. Last one on this page, I am subtracting 4. So I'm going to undo it by adding 4. That goes to 0. And so y is equal to 17. And 17 minus 4 does give me 13. Okay, now we're going to do the reverse of multiplication and division. So to undo multiplication, use division. And to undo division, use multiplication. Now, it's very common for this first problem, x divided by 4 is equal to 8. It's very common that students will give me that wrong answer of 2. But if you check it, 2 divided by 4 does not equal 8. So I have to read it to myself. Start with x, divide by 4, and get 8. So to reverse it, I start with 8, I multiply by 4, and I get 32. and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So now here's what it looks like mathematically. I see the division. I know I'm going to have to multiply by that number, and 4 divided by 4 leaves me that 1x, and 8 times 4 is 32. Now, I know some of you can do these problems in your head, but when we get to problems that you can't do in your head, you need to have that groundwork built so that you can follow the steps, okay? This one says 7 times what number equals 35? I know you know that it is 5, but this is how it's going to look on our paper. 7 divided by 7 is 1, and that leaves us x, and 35 divided by 7 is 5, okay? The last two are going to be multiplying by 7 on both sides. That gives me y is equal to 98. And 98 divided by 7 does equal 14. Okay, divide by 5. That gives me m is equal to 25. So those 2 pages are one-step equations. We're now going to get into multi-step equations. And I have this little saying that's hopefully helpful to let you see what operations you are going to do in what order. So the D stands for distribute. We're always going to remove parentheses first, okay? Then I'm going to teach you a little trick that will allow you to clear fractions. Then you're going to collect like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Then you're going to move variables to one side. Then you're going to undo addition or subtraction. And then last, you're going to undo multiplication or division. Okay, so now, like I said, some of these you will not have every step. You just kind of walk through and say, okay, what steps do I need to start with? So if I read this problem over here, I would say start with x, multiply by 3, that gives me 3x, subtract 5, and you get 28. So to reverse it, I'm going to start with 28. I'm going to add 5 to get 33. I'm going to divide by 3 to get 11. And that's going to be my answer. But this is how it's going to look like if I do it using my T table. So again, I kind of cover up that variable. I see what's happening outside the variable. That's what I undo first. So it says subtract 5, so I am going to add 5. And whatever I do to the left of the equal sign, I must also do to the right. So now I have 3x is equal to 33. It says 3 times what number is 33? So I divide, and x comes out to be 11. And you still can check. 3 times 11 is 33, and 33 minus 5 does equal 28. It doesn't matter where the variable is. You just have to locate it. And when I locate it, I can see that, well, let's see. I can see that when I locate it, I am adding 5 to that 4x, so I need to undo the adding 5 by subtracting 5. So I am going to draw my line. I'm going to subtract 5 first. That goes to 0. I'm left with 4x is equal to 20. And then I must divide by the number in front of the x. That gives me 1x, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, watch your signs. So here I'm going to get rid of the -2 first by adding 2. That goes to 0. -3t is equal to 18. Divide by -3, and that gives me t is equal to -6. All right, the next one, we are going to subtract 8. That goes to 0. 4t is equal to -20. We want to divide by the number in front of the variable, and that says t is -5. Now, as we go through, they get a little bit more complicated, a little bit more steps, a lot more work. So I'm going to end with the fractions, and then we'll pick up another video starting with more steps. So what I want you to do is I want you to learn how to clear the fractions by multiplying every term by the LCD. So the LCD between 3 and 4 is going to be 12. So I'm going to take 12 times 2x over 3 plus 12 times 1/3 is equal to 12 times 3/4. So 3 goes into 12 and leaves 4. 4 times 2x is 8x. 3 goes into 12 and leaves 4, and 4 times 1 is 4. 4 goes into 12 and leaves 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. And once you clear the fraction, guys, this is a much easier problem to look at. And don't be alarmed if you get a fraction for your answer. That does not mean that you're incorrect. So I'm going to subtract 4. So I get 8x, that goes to 0, is equal to 5, and then I divide through by 8. So my answer is 5/8. On this next one, my LCD is going to be 6, so I'm going to multiply every term by 6, and you can do it that way if it's easier for you to stay organized. 2 goes into 6 and leaves 3. 3 times 1 times x is 3x. 3 goes into 6 and leaves 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 goes into 6 and leaves 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So then I will subtract 2. I get 3x is equal to 2. I am going to divide by 3, so x is 2/3. All right, one more before I end this video, and we'll pick up on the next one. Is this one, my LCD in this case is going to be 12. The lowest number that 2, 3, and 4 divide into is going to be 12. So I am going to write a little 12 by all terms. And so 2 goes into 12 and leaves 6, and 6 times 1 times y is 6y. 3 goes into 12 and leaves 4, and 1 times 4 is 4. And 4 goes into 12 and leaves 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. So now I will subtract 4. 6y, that goes to 0, is equal to -1. Divide through, so y is -1/6.